Good afternoon and welcome everyone to today's meeting on the Senate Committee on Revenue and Economic Development. Will the Secretary please proceed to call the roll?
Senator Cruz Crawford. Here. Senator Steinbeck.
Here.
Senator Stone. Vice Chair Dignante.
And I'm here, and please mark Senator Neal absent excused. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us. Today, we only have a bill hearing. We only have one. It's Senate Bill 364. And so I'm going to go ahead and get started. So I will go ahead and open the hearing for Senate Bill 364. This bill revises provisions relating to economic development, and I'll invite Senator Cruz Crawford to begin when she's ready.
Hello, committee. Thank you, Chair Dignate, for this opportunity. My name is Shelley Cruz Crawford. I am the senator that represents District 1 in beautiful North Las Vegas. And today I am presenting with my co-presenters Senate Bill 364, which is an act relating to taxation, authorizing certain qualified businesses in the state to apply for the Office of Economic Development for a partial abatement from certain taxes imposed in connection with the development of railroad tracks, railroad spurs, and railroad-related infrastructure, prescribing certain requirements and conditions relating to the partial abatement and providing other matters properly relating thereto. My presenters today are Justin Lichter, which is right here to my furthest right, and Daniel Judici, and then on Zoom I have Cameron Belt. So with that, I will turn it over to my presenters. Thank you.
Thank you. Great to meet you all, and good afternoon. My name is Justin Lichter. I'm with Industrial Realty Group, and we're happy to present this today. We think that this is a big opportunity for the state of Nevada. It's a small change, but has big implications in terms of the potential for economic growth and diversification in the state. So, generally speaking, the change is rather small. There's pretty much tax abatement language, related to economic growth currently in the legislation. The only difference we're proposing is to include rail and rail-related items, service in that language. Right now, it's excluded, so there are no abatements included for a rail component of that. We think this is a really big clarification, but for many reasons, but generally in the state, mining, agriculture, supply chain logistics, everything going on in the state would benefit from this change. Their manufacturers aren't locating in Nevada currently because of some of those challenges with the supply chain that we have coming into the state, whether it's traffic, congestion, weather-related delays, and other items that lead to challenges with the state. But this change would lead to further economic growth, job creation, and other ripple effects that would be beneficial for the state. Right now, the state is often seen as a pass-through or a drive-through state from a supply chain standpoint or manufacturing standpoint, and this change would help create nodes and hubs that would allow for the manufacturers to locate here and the growth and expansion of current businesses. It's pretty simple, small change in the language. It's nothing different than what's there already, but it would have a huge impact in creating a more competitive environment for Nevada to compete with other states that we're competing with for these businesses. The jobs that would be created with this bill are high-paying, skilled jobs for long-term jobs, and like I said, it's important to all the businesses that are in the state and for their growth. So rail has unique potential to send high volume and heavyweight items and keep truck traffic off the road and provide for safety on the road network, as well as decrease maintenance costs and other items as well. So, an example would be, on rail, you can put, 1 ton of freight over 400 miles with 1 gallon of diesel. So a lot more efficient, a lot more effective, for the supply chain. So it would help all these groups that are shipping a lot of product from the West Coast ports into these inland nodes or hubs, or exporting from here, which would open up a lot of opportunity for new business. As I mentioned, it would increase safety on the roads. It would add to supply chain diversification, which is important because some of these companies are paying lots of money in demurrage and other charges because of weather delays, traffic congestion, other delays in getting their containers back to the port in time. So it's important. For example, one group we spoke to recently paid $10 million in demurrage costs because they were located in northern Nevada. These types of solutions would alleviate these problems and allow businesses more comfort in locating here. In addition, it's more environmentally friendly than the truck traffic on the road. It, like I said, it reduces maintenance costs on the highways. As you know, all summer is road construction season, and winter is weather season. So it would help that effect. It would add to more businesses locating because of the knowns. So businesses don't like unknowns, and this provides a solution to create known situations. These businesses would have high-paying jobs. They'd be manufacturers. Manufacturers typically need rail to locate because they need raw materials, and that comes in bulk. It's cheaper to ship in bulk than it is by rail than it is by truck. So that would bring higher-paying, higher-skilled jobs to the state. Just as an example, our company alone, we have properties throughout Nevada. If this bill were to pass, we have long-term plans to invest hundreds of millions of dollars in northern and southern Nevada. So it's important to us, but I also think it as on a larger scale, there's a big effects for other groups that are doing similar things, and other manufacturers, other groups that would create jobs throughout the state.
Thank you, Justin. For the record, Daniel Judici. Thank you, Chair, members of the committee. I'm going to provide the legislative overview of Senate Bill 364. So subsection 1 essentially authorizes GOED to make partial tax abatements on property taxes, local sales and use taxes, and modified business taxes. We have a conceptual amendment that we have put in to limit the real property taxes to within 1 foot of the rail track, and that has been submitted. Going on to subsection 2, GOED shall approve if the applicant executed the agreement within 1 year of the application, and it complies with the GOED audit process, which is NRS 360.755. Also, the state receives the effective date, and then cannot be prior to entering in the application, and then it can't, the abatements can't take place more than 1 year after the application is approved. The applicant must continue operations in Nevada for a period of at least 5 years. Any successor in interest is bound by the application, so if the business transfers to somebody else, the application still is in effect. Businesses must maintain all their licenses, permits that are required to operate. And it also requires that the average hourly wage of the jobs that would be added are in excess of 100% of the average minimum wage in the state, or excuse me, average hourly wage in the state. It also provides health insurance, including dependent coverage for the employees. Any new businesses would be required to have at least 5 new full-time employees. Any existing business would need to increase their full-time employees by at least 3%. They must either provide an initial investment, capital investment of $250,000, or maintain and possess $5 million in tangible personal property throughout the state. Partial abatements that would be imposed affecting any local school support tax law would require at least a 2/3 vote of the GOED board. Subsection 3 provides the section in which GOED needs to notify the applicant whether the application has been approved or denied. It provides a 45-day period. It also restricts GOED from considering any application unless it has received a letter of acknowledgement from any affected county, school district, city, town, and meets the requirements of NRS 360.757, which is the notice provision. And also, they're not allowed to approve any abatements over 10 years. Subsections 4 and 5 essentially authorize GOED to send the application to the Nevada Department of Taxation, the Nevada Tax Commission, and any affected county treasurer. Section 5 provides a partial abatement for existing businesses, and at the request of GOED, they're supposed to furnish any copies or any records necessary to meet the requirements of subsection 2. That would be the audit provisions. And then the remaining subsections essentially authorize GOED to create regulations. It also authorizes the Nevada Tax Commission to create regulations. And also any applicant that fails to execute the agreement within 1 year of the date in which they received it, they would have to submit a new application. And in any time a business would cease to operate in the state or meet any of the requirements, they would be required to pay back the abatements that they received with interest, unless the Nevada Tax Commission determines that they substantially complied with the requirements. And essentially, that is concluding the legislative overview, and we'll turn it over to Cameron in Las Vegas.
Hello, everybody. I've got the ability to share my screen, and I'm going to do so as of now. For the record, I am Cameron Belt, Senior Economist and Research Director at RCG Economics. If you can't see my screen, please let me know, but I think it should be all good to go. Thank you, Chairperson and Senate Committee members. RCG Economics was asked to analyze the potential economic benefits from a policy change proposed by SB 364, which we've heard so far. As a reminder, this would allow rail infrastructure to qualify for Nevada's existing tax abatement programs. These programs are already in place to support economic development, but rail is currently excluded. As of today, rail is considered real property in Nevada. That classification excludes it from qualifying for tax payments that many other industries are eligible for. SB 364 proposes 2 specific changes. 1, rail not affixed to the ground should be eligible for personal property and sales tax payments. And 2, rail affixed to the ground should be eligible for real property abatements, limited to 1 foot on each side of the affixed rail. This change is about bringing the rail industry to parity with GOED target industries like mining, agriculture, and logistics. These industries all rely on rail to some degree, and having access to additional rail lines can strengthen the supply chain, lead to decreased costs, and potentially encourage more target industries to relocate or expand to Nevada. Rail already punches above its weight in Nevada's economy. Rail generates over $627 million in economic output annually. Rail also supports over 1,400 total job years, leading to over $130 million in labor income throughout the state. These impacts do include direct employment in rail, plus spillover effects across the economy through indirect and induced effects, which come from spending from suppliers and households. Rail investment doesn't stay solely in the transportation sector. It spreads across multiple industries. While over $400 million in total output currently flows into transportation and warehousing, millions of dollars of additional impacts yearly are found in finance, construction, real estate, and even retail and entertainment. This is the multiplier effect in action. Rail supports growth across nearly every sector in the state. It's also not just about rail workers. This infrastructure supports jobs in construction and maintenance, office and administrative support, manufacturing, and even business and financial operations. So when investments are made in rail, we can see that they're really investing in and supporting a broad cross-section of Nevada's workforce. Many of GOED's target industries in Nevada rely on local rail transportation to function. The top 20 industries that currently depend on rail in Nevada include gold, gypsum, and other metal mining, ready-mix concrete, construction of residential real estate, and even casino hotels. These aren't niche sectors. They're the backbone industries in our state economy, yet they face higher logistics costs than they might otherwise if additional rail investments were to be made within Nevada. This slide ties the rail industry directly to GOED's priorities. Rail lowers costs for manufacturers and agricultural exporters, and it's essential for mining operators and supports freight logistics for the hospitality industry. These are the sectors that Nevada is already actively trying to grow, and the policy change proposed by SB 364 can help them thrive. Oops, excuse me. So why does this policy matter now? Rail is 30 to 50% cheaper per ton mile than trucking, and it complements Nevada's trucking industry by allowing operators to focus less on long haul and allows them to shift to more short or intermediate routes. It's 75% more efficient in emissions, which aligns with Nevada's environmental goals, and it frees up our highways for last mile trucking and passenger use. Rail is a high efficiency, high impact form of freight transportation that enhances the supply chain. So when it comes to the ROI, for every $1 million spent on rail construction, it's generated to estimate 10 job years, both 6 direct and 4 indirect, stimulates over $700,000 in earnings, and leads to over $698,000 in additional indirect and induced output, which comes from increased purchases from suppliers and the workforce. Now, the ROI doesn't stop with construction. On the operations side, for every $1 million in increased output from rail transportation, it will generate an additional 3.5 jobs, both 1 direct and 2.5 indirect, over $314,000 in earnings, and $429,000 in additional indirect and induced local economic activity. This means that once the rail is built, and as long as it continues to operate, it pays economic dividends year after year. Here's the final takeaway. For every job supported on site during operations, another 1.9 jobs are supported in the broader economy. For every $100,000 in earnings during operations, it leads to an additional $90,000 more in community and state wages. And for every $1 million in output during operations, it will yield an additional $500,000 in output throughout the state in ripple effects. This is exactly the kind of investment that tax abatements are meant to encourage. So to recap from our analysis, SB 364 proposes a straightforward policy change. It allows rail to be treated like other personal property under GOED's existing programs. It supports key industries in Nevada and leads to material returns. Thank you very much, and we're happy to answer any questions if there are any at this time.
Thank you so much. Committee members, do we have any questions? Senator Stone.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for the presentation. Seems like a very exciting proposal to me. One of GOED's priorities is logistics and distribution. So can you talk about how this is going to inspire and enhance the potentiality of making Nevada truly an inland port when our ports are operating at pretty much capacity in California? They need places to store. It seems like to me this is a great idea to nurture that expansion here.
Yeah, this will help. I'm sorry. My name is Justin Lichter, again, for the record. This will help tremendously with that. It'll free up capacity at the ports because it'll help them move freight quicker off the port with on-dock rail or near-dock rail from Oakland, SeaTac, and LA Long Beach. And it'll create these hubs inland where, as Cameron mentioned, the short-haul logistics becomes the key driver versus the long haul, which has more risk related to unknown costs, timing, and supply chain. So it helps locate these logistics users or manufacturers around these nodes where they can deliver the container or the bulk commodity to the inland port in a quicker manner.
And then if I could just follow up, is the right-of-way is going to be bought by the private sector, and it'll be held fee simple for an owner. They will own the rail spur. They're not going to be giving it to a railroad. Is that correct?
So the Class 1 railroad like UP or BNSF, which services the northern and southern Nevada markets, would do the long haul service from the port to here, and then the local private industry track would all be owned by the private sector, correct?
Require permission from these like UPs for you to hook up to them, or is that discretionary on their part, or is that something that they mandatorily would have to do under this bill?
UP would want more business, and it's a conversion business, new business for them, so they would service the sites as they do, for new business, and then any growth within that parcel of land would require approvals from the local municipalities, like you would go do for a new building or new construction. You'd go through city approvals for that portion of it.
Thank you so much. Any other questions? Seeing none, let's go ahead and open up for testimony. Thank you so much for the presentation. If you would like to go ahead and testify in support, we ask for folks to please come forward. The same rules apply with a 2-minute limit, and we ask for folks to please spell their name when they come forward. Let's start here in Carson City. Mr. Musgrove, you can go ahead.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair. Dan Musgrove, Strategies 360. Today representing the District Council of Iron Workers. That's Local 118 in Reno, Local 416 and 433 in Las Vegas. Talk about jobs. This means jobs. And iron workers, their work plays a crucial role in creating and maintaining the iron robust infrastructure that railway requires to be safe and efficient. And we hope you support this bill. I think the sponsor might have an affinity for iron workers, but I won't put that on the record.
Thank you, Chair. Tessa Laxalt Robinson with the Nevada Trucking Association and the Nevada Manufacturers Association here in support. We thank the sponsor for bringing this bill forth. We are in favor of looking at ways to make our supply chains more efficient. And while trucks move 95% of all manufactured freight in Nevada, we recognize that trucks are not always the best mode, depending on the type of freight, how heavy it is, and as well as on-time sensitivity and distance. An intermodal port can alleviate the pressure on the highways, which is great for our makers and movers, ensuring a strong supply chain in the Silver State. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair and members of the committee. For the record, my name is Trevor Parrish with the Vegas Chamber. The Chamber is in support of SB 364 as it creates the incentive for private industry to meaningfully contribute to the construction of infrastructure that equally serves public interest and economic development. With benchmarks that provide for increased investment, job creation, and development, SB 364 is another tool for our state to support economic growth. We'd like to thank the bill sponsor for bringing this forward, and we thank the committee for your time and consideration of this measure. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, Chair and members of the committee. My name is Joanna Tiveros with Carrera, Nevada, on behalf of the Las Vegas Global Economic Alliance, the state's largest nonprofit regional economic development agency. We thank the sponsor and the stakeholders for bringing forward this bill. The LVGEA urges your support on this bill as it will expand access to rail spurs and unlock economic opportunities in both the urban and rural areas. This bill will improve infrastructure, enabling business to efficiently transport goods, attract investments, and create jobs. The LVGEA board and municipal partners work tirelessly to generate support for our growing communities. The rail connectivity strengthens supply chains, supports industry growth, and enhances Nevada's competitiveness. Thank you.
The committee, Nicole Rourke, representing the city of Henderson. We're here in support of SB 364. It expands abatements to support growth in rail in southern Nevada. Often rail-served sites are an ask from companies seeking to expand to Henderson, and if we can incentivize companies to build more rail, it would certainly be helpful to our economic development efforts. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair. My name is Frank Nolan. I'm the Chairman and President of Arm Ridge Resources, a mining and exploration property acquisition company based in Reno, Nevada. I'm here to express our strong support for Senate Bill 364. Improved rail infrastructure is essential for responsible resource development and greater economic opportunity throughout Nevada. Enhanced transportation networks reduce costs for businesses like ours, allow safer movement of materials, and foster new jobs and growth. This legislation will help Nevada remain competitive, ensure a stable supply chain for numerous industries and critical minerals, and reinforce our commitments to sustainable development throughout the state. On behalf of Arm Ridge Resources, I respectfully urge your support for Senate Bill 364 and the strategic advantages it will bring to the entire state of Nevada. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, Chair, Senators. My name is Zach Bucher. I'm the Government Affairs Manager for the great city of North Las Vegas. Here today in support. I'd like to take it back down memory lane, our recent history. City of North Las Vegas was on the verge of financial Armageddon. We were on the verge of state receivership. One of the ways we turned the ship around, became a city that was able to get it right, was these abatements, incentives. We believe this will also add and help us going forward. So we'd like to thank Senator Cruz Crawford for bringing it, and we would appreciate your consideration.
We have a question from Senator Steinbeck, if we can give that.
How do you foresee this assisting in the Apex area?
Can I go direct, Chair? Thank you. Thank you for the question, Senator. We haven't fully, there's a lot of, we have places in Apex that are already open. There's a lot of room for other development in Apex, and we think this might have some effect on other entities that would like to come. We think rail would be a way to get their business there. So we think it will help in that regard.
Yes. Neil E. McIntyre, Mayor, City of Fernley, for the record. Chair Denote and members of the Senate Revenue and Economic Development Committee. On behalf of the City of Fernley and the Fernley Inland Port, I am here to strongly support Senate Bill 364. Senate Bill 364 represents a vital step forward in unlocking the economic potential of inland ports and logistic hubs throughout Nevada. As a designated inland port, Fernley is uniquely positioned to serve as a major intermodal and freight distribution gateway for the western United States. This bill provides critical legislative backing to help accelerate the infrastructure investments, workforce development, and interagency coordination necessary to maximize this opportunity. The strategic location of Fernley, at the crossroads of major transportation corridors, close approximately to rail, highway, and air freight networks, makes it a prime candidate for long-term economic growth. SB 364 will empower local jurisdictions and regional partners to collaborate more effectively in building out our resistant and efficient freight network that supports not only Fernley, but the entire state.
Good afternoon, Chair and Committee. Albert Torres, City of Fernley City Council. We are especially encouraged by the bill's emphasis on planning, coordination with state agencies, and the facilitation of public-private partnerships. These are all essential elements for the success of large-scale logistics operations and will enable Nevada to remain competitive in a rapidly evolving global supply chain environment. We thank the sponsors and supporters of SB 364 for their vision and leadership, and we urge this committee to support its passage. The future of Nevada's logistics economy is bright, and SB 364 will help ensure we realize its full potential. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair, members of the committee. For the record, Kelly McNeil, McNeil, Executive Director of the Nevada League of Cities. First of all, I'd like to thank the bill sponsor for bringing this forward. This legislation is a strategic step forward strengthening Nevada's transportation network, enhancing economic development, and fostering long-term prosperity in both urban and rural communities. This bill is an important step in ensuring Nevada's long-term economic competitiveness while directly supporting local economies, and for these reasons, the League supports SB 364. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair, members of the committee. My name is Terry Graves, representing Western Metals Recycling. We'd just like briefly to say we support the bill in terms of the fact that we do transfer a lot of scrap metal back and forth through ports. So thank you for the bill.
Thank you so much. Anyone else? Seeing none here or in Las Vegas AVH, is there anyone online?
If you would like to testify in support of SB 364, please press *9 to take your place in the queue.
Chair, there are no callers in support at this time.
Thank you so much. Let's move on to opposition. If you're opposed to this bill, please come forward. Please begin.
Good afternoon, Chair Dunyate, members of the committee. My name is Taylor Allison, last name Allison, representing Lyon County. We are opposed to Senate Bill 364. We've expressed some of our concerns to the bill sponsor. In particular, Section 1 is not clear as to whether or not the partial abatements will apply to existing rail infrastructure. I think the intent is to expand existing businesses, but language such as operation, reconstruction, repair, and maintenance may now be eligible for partial abatements through the proposed language. So we're seeking clarification for that, as rail is the 8th largest taxpayer in Lyon County. This would have significant impacts to existing tax revenues. In addition, the bill presentation indicated it would just be similar to existing abatement programs. There are not currently existing abatement programs where real property is the standard. Personal property is preferred. So we just want to work with the bill sponsor to continue to address the real property concerns. We did get a chance to see the amendment in 1 foot in either direction. And I'll just go on the record that our assessor does have some concerns about assessing the 1 foot on either side of the rail tracks. And so while we strongly support economic development and diversification, we do have concerns for Senate Bill 364, and we will continue to work with the sponsor as this progresses. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Anyone else? AVH, is there anyone online?
If you would like to testify in opposition to SB 364, please press *9 to take your place in the queue. Public line is open and working. There are no callers wishing to testify in opposition at this time.
Thank you so much. Let's move on to neutral. Is there anyone in neutral? Please come forward. Seeing none here or online, AVH, is there anyone online?
If you would like to testify in neutral for SB 364, please press *9 to take your place in the queue.
Good afternoon, Vice Chair Dunyate and members of the committee. For the record, I am Matthew Parker, M-A-T-T-H-E-W-P-A-R-K-E-R, representing the Brotherhood of Locomotive Engineers and Trainmen Teamsters Rail Conference. We are neutral on SB 364. However, we do have some concerns with the bill. At present, major railroads across the country are delivering poor service as a result of the industry's adoption of a business model called precision scheduled railroading, which unfortunately has nothing to do with either precision or scheduling. Rather, it is primarily about draconian cost cutting to improve operating ratios. Service has suffered as a result. The past several years have seen a rise in shipper complaints of substandard service to the Surface Transportation Board and even the issuance by the board of emergency service orders. We have also seen the board move forward with some rulemaking seeking to break the stranglehold of the monopolistic Class 1 railroads and increase competition in the industry. These are very evident signs that service to rail shippers has suffered. This bill appears to take a build it and they will come approach to rail-centric economic development, and we lack faith that this can be a successful strategy in the current rail shipping environment in which we have seen business shift from rail to highway as a result of service challenges. We would also like to point the committee to the state's rail plan, rewritten and updated in 2021. The authors of that document included an inventory of existing facilities, which include railroad spurs that are vacant, and encourages efforts to marry businesses seeking rail service with those facilities. We believe efforts by GoEd to achieve these goals specified in the state rail plan could be more successful and less costly to Nevadans. Thank you for the opportunity to bring to light our concerns about rail-centric economic development in Nevada in general, and specifically about this bill.
If you have recently joined and would like to testify in neutral for SB 364, please press *9 now to take your place in the queue. Chair, the public line is open and working. There are no other callers at this time.
Thank you so much. Senator Cruz Crawford, do you have any closing remarks?
Thank you, Chair Donate. Shelley Cruz Crawford for the record. I just want to thank everyone that has been involved in this process and look forward to working with Lyon County and our rail workers brotherhood on getting things in place that help support our economic development. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That concludes the presentation and the hearing, and so I'll go ahead and close the hearing on this bill, which brings us to our last agenda item, which is public comment. Is there anyone else that would, or anyone here that would like to provide public comment at this time? Seeing none here or in Las Vegas, AVH, is there anyone online?
If you would like to provide public comment, please press *9 to take your place in the queue.
Hi, my name is Katrin Ivanov, KATRIN Frank. I didn't know enough to testify on the bill either. I didn't know enough about the cons and pros on the bill. What I wanted to commend the committee is that they're bringing and looking into businesses that are different than tourism, because our state needs it. Diversity of businesses is a good thing. And it looks like you guys are on the right track, and you're going to figure out a way to make it a good deal out of that one. I'm sure you're going to include the concerns of the people that are on the opposite side. I just wanted to say that I listen to legislature as much as I can because, I have other things to do, but it's not my job at the moment. But I am pleasantly surprised because most of the time when I'm listening, I'm in opposition. I'm pleasantly surprised to voice my support for you guys looking into diversified businesses for Nevada, especially the rural areas. I don't know how to say that word. Sorry. Thank you. And thank you for everything you guys do, and have a lovely day.
Chair, the public line is open and working. There are no other callers at this time.
Thank you so much. That concludes the items for today, and we look forward to seeing everyone next Tuesday. Thank you so much, and the meeting's adjourned.